If you're a fan of Asian sports cars, or even if you're a fan of sports cars in general, you know what the name Z means. For years, it's been a beloved car here in America, over in Japan, the world over, in fact. And they recently updated the old 350Z to give us now the 2012 370Z. This is basically Japan's Mustang, and it's ready to kick some butt on our shores. 370Z has a bunch of love it or hate it features. Some people hate the fangs, some people love the catfish-like appearance. If you do hate those, don't worry, they're going away for 2013. But forgetting that for a minute, moving back, you've got these swept headlamps, which is a Nissan look. You've got the cool domed hood, you've got the low roof line. But the real thing that stands out for me on the 370Z is how much it reminds me of a 240Z. The 350Z was kind of blobbish. It had no connection to Z cars of the past. This feels and looks like the modern maturation of the Z family. The way it slopes backwards, the way the rear fenders puff out. This is what a Z should look like today, and the 370 nails it design-wise for me. Nissan badge up front means you can expect a sporty VQ under the hood, and that's no exception here. 3.7-liter V6 engine. It pushes out 332 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. That's sent backwards to the rear wheels, just how it should be, through a 6-speed manual gearbox. The 370Z comes in 3 basic flavors. You've got your standard coupe, you've got your roadster convertible, and you can step all the way up to the super sporty Nismo, which is stiffer and gets a little more horsepower. Since we're dealing with a coupe, let's take a look at the rear trunk space. Now, there's nothing to write home about in here. In fact, it's not that great. The shock towers and the rear fender flares, because you have these big tires, these come way in and hamper any loading, and you've got this strut bar up here, which is great for chassis rigidity, but not so much when you're loading things in here. They've managed to keep it away from the cargo by moving it forward, but it's still gonna block a few things. On top of that, since you've got the sloping roof line, this rear glass, when it comes down, if you put anything tall in here, it's going into this. Our Z test car is fitted with the optional Sport package, and the main feature that we like from it are these raised 19-inch alloy wheels. The name raised might sound familiar because they make the wheels for the Nissan GTR, and if they're good enough for the GTR, they're definitely good enough for the Z here. Up front, 19-inch 245 series tires, 19 inches in back as well with 275 wide tires. They help keep the car planted when you're going through curves, and they sit the car down wonderfully. Things are mighty cozy here in the cabin of the 370Z, and that's auto journalist speak for it's small in here. That said, I still got headroom at 6'3". I've got legroom. I'm comfortable. The seat is tightly bolstered, which is nice in a sports car. You do want that, but I wonder if my back would start to ache on a longer trip. The shifter falls easily to hand. The layout is clean and simple. There's an uprated version with a little more going on right here, but for now you've just got storage, which is fine. The sound system works. Steering controls here for the audio system are great, so you can keep your eyes on the road. That said, though, visibility in here is kind of poor. Going forward, it's fine. There's plenty to see out here. Looking out the side, it's all right. These are much better than, say, in the Camaro where it's like gun slits. But when you look backwards, you can see out the rear window fine, but your rear 3/4 views are atrocious. The B and C pillars just basically form a block on your vision and you can't see. So when you're making passes, you really have to look twice. The VQ engine up front is one of those love it or hate it's when it comes to the exhaust note. It's very metallic, so if you like it, there's plenty of it. Just keep your foot planted. And if you don't like it, you're never gonna like this car. That said, the 332 horsepower is a blast. It's always ready to go. On top of that, the 6-speed manual in here is fitted with the synchronous shift system. So when you downshift, it automatically rev matches for you. You don't have to blip the throttle. All you heel toe pretenders out there, just forget about it. This car does it for you. But if you actually can heel toe, you can turn the system off and drive it the way you want to drive it. Because this is a driver-focused cabin, you've got a set of gauges up here that relay some information. You've got your voltage and you've got your oil temperature as well as a clock, which is a nice feature. On top of that, the gauge cluster behind there actually moves with the wheel, which is great for adjustment and keeps it right in your line of sight. It's not all good news up here though, because this fuel gauge is annoying. We'd love a traditional analog gauge, not this row of orange lights. The Z is an excellent sports car. It is coarse, it is rough around the edges. There's some harshness from the engine, but it's all aggressive and it works in the favor of the Z. That said, you could opt for something like a V6 Mustang, which is close on power, but not quite there, much cheaper, just as much fun and a little more well refined than the Z. Or you can step up now to the redesigned Genesis Coupe, another great offering in the segment. There's plenty of choices, which is great if you're an enthusiast. You're still gonna have to shell out some coin for the Z. You can get into them for around $30,000, but if you want to step up and start adding options or opt for other body styles like the Roadster or the more aggressive Nismo, you're gonna be up near $40,000. But that's how much sports cars cost. If you want to have fun in a two-door coupe, rear-wheel drive, fun, sporty engine, you need to spend money. 370Z is no exception, and it's worth it.